everybody, Prow here, and we are in for one of the biggest episodes of the entire guide series so far, and that's because we're building two amazing things and we're using a brand new tool to help me do it. You're gonna have a lot of fun with this episode because I'm super excited to do it. This is gonna be great. And what we're going to be building is over here where we planned out the wool shop to go. There's going to be the shop up top and the farm down below, like I did back in Bedrock Guide Season 1. I love that way of doing things. We're going to continue a lot of that here this time as well. And we're going to build the shop and the farm. So what's special? Well, first of all, the farm is slightly new and improved. It's a little bit better. You're going to like that. It's going to have the crafter to crafter flint and steel and stuff. It's so good. I can't wait to show you guys. The shop up here looks amazing. You're actually going to get to see that here in just a second because of a new tool that we're using called HoloPrint. I'm not going to give a full tutorial or explain the whole thing here. I have a video on it on the channel, so go check out that video. It is amazing, and you're going to get to see some of its capabilities. Now, I'm going to place an armor stand down. So let's place it down right here. And oh no, nothing happened. Why? Because we have to punch to activate it. And there is our build that we're going to be doing, and it is magnificent. Now, I need to do a couple things with this build first before we do anything else. Okay, actions and stuff has been disabled. Let's see if this does the trick. Yes, it did. Okay, so now we can position this guy exactly where we want it. I'm going to use the stick to just kind of like swap around a little bit where all of this is supposed to go. If it hangs over the edge a little bit, that's fine. We can adapt the build and the terrain as long as it fits in the overall scheme of where we're going, where we're doing things. This bridge, I think I can move over 2 or 3 spots at least. So let's bring this out here a little bit more. And then there's going to be a road that goes through here to the bridge. All right, and I've positioned things exactly where I want it. I do want to save its positioning. When you go away from the build, it does do it automatically, but I just want to go ahead and just manually save it in case like I don't think about it and I log out or something. So we're going to do that. Now the armor stand saved its exact position and exactly how it works. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the wool here because we have a second part of the build that we want to load in. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a second structure to this. This is the build. Pretty cool, right? You'll see it in its full glory when we actually build it, but we need to add in the farm too. So I'm going to do this really quick. All right, so we're going to turn this off, and then I want to lock it and keep it from popping back up for a moment. So I'm going to give the bone to this guy, and now anything else we do won't affect what we're doing next. We're placing another armor stand down. We're punching that armor stand. It's going to pull up the same build, which is not what I want. Instead, what I want is I want the second build. This is the sheep farm. And what I want to do is position this guy to be roughly where that is, because we're going to have the entrance down into that sheep farm right here. And that's marking where our ladder is going to go down. And what I want is I want that ladder to go down and then pop in where the storage is going to be, which is going to be like over here. So let's do this. Let me give this guy the bone so he doesn't do anything. Let's use the copper ingot to, I think, rotate this. Our storage is going to be here and go this way, which means as long as we come down anywhere in this area over there, we're good. So I'm going to move this guy over. All right, so we're going to position it right here. So when in the other structure, I'm coming straight down the ladder, I'm going to land here in the storage room at the corner of the build, and I can go over and go through the storage. And then the next thing I want to do is this is obviously going to be going underground. This is how big the hole's going to be, this outline right here. So for my planning, I'm going to use this outline to get a hole underground started, and then we're going to push this thing underground. So let me get the start of this thing in, and I'll be right back. Okay, I've carved a little space underneath, and now I want to start like putting this thing in position downwards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the bone away from this guy. Thank you very much. And we're going to go underneath here where I have carved out this outline down here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start pushing this dude down into the ground. And I'm going to keep pushing it down until the top of my farm is inside of here. A little bit more. This is the redstone dust right here. I'm going to give myself the tiniest bit extra, and we're going to go down 1 extra block. Now the whole build is fit inside of here. I'm going to do something else now too, which is I'm going to go to my change layer tool. I think that's this guy right here. And then I am going to make it so only the bottom layer of this build shows, which was that big ring of smooth stone blocks. I'm gonna hit this right here. I think hitting it once should take me to the bottom layer. Yeah, it did. It has. So yeah, so now we're good. So now what I can do is I can lock this guy back in place. I can put all my tools away. And now I could come down here and I could just dig straight down till I get I guess I can get to just the bottom of the bounding box, and I'll see those little blocks. When I get all the way down to them, I know that I've gone far enough. So I got a lot of digging to do. I'm going to do that with stream instead of doing it on camera, and I'll be back when it's done. All right, I got the hole dug out. This is where our contraption is going. And ooh, actually, I can show that off. I crouch and punch here. And that's it. That's the full thing right here. And I have some shulker boxes here where I've already gathered all of the materials I need for this whole build. It was actually easy to find that out because when I used HoloPrint to save those structures that I designed in creative mode, it told me all of the stuff that I need for the build in the first place. So I have all of this stuff here with me in these shulker boxes. I went through and gathered it on stream a few days ago. So we're just going to take these project shulker boxes down, and then we're going to start building this. Now, I've never done a live build in video with this, and I want to make this easy for you guys to follow along with in terms of what to do and how to do it. So we will be kind of switching back and forth between this being on or off or a specific layer of it, just so you guys can kind of see what I'm doing and not have this hologram in the way all the time. I may also want to build some kind of platform or something up here to easily get up and down, but I'll worry about that in a little bit. For now, I'm going to place down my project shulker boxes, and we're going to get started with the first part of this farm, which is going to be setting the minecart track area. And then after that, we will build the sheep pens, and then we'll do the redstone. So here's how we're going to do this. And if you wonder why I have so much clear space here, it's because I didn't do the pre-design of this, but there's going to be a storage system that goes across right here for all of the different wool that we're going to have. And what we're going to be doing here with this wool farm is we're going to have one color of every sheep, meaning 16 different sheep up in the pens up here that we're going to end up building. So storage is going to go down below. These are the minecart tracks that are going to be collecting the wool, and I'll show you that part in just a moment. I'm actually going to take the first step here of placing down where those tracks are going to go, and you can kind of follow along with how long these tracks need to be as I sit here and build it. So this track that's going underneath the wool farm part, this is 14 blocks long, and it's just simply going to be snaking around so the minecart can go underneath where all of the sheep are going to be getting sheared at. Now I am going to be using some powered rails here, so I'm just going to go ahead and put my levers underneath and turn them on for our rails that are going to go there. And then our rails are going to be going on top. Now, the starting location for our rails is going to be over here because this is where our collection system is going to be. So I'm just going to start out by here. I'm going to put a temporary block here and a block right there. And then we are going to place a rail in all the spots that we need it. So the rails are going to come across down through here. And then we have powered rails, and then they're just going to continue around. And then once we get to the end here, we place our rail at the end. Let me jump over here really quick. We put a solid block right here, not right there. And then we put a lever right here to keep this powered. That way the minecart sheep can bounce back through. If I turn the rendering off, this is what you got. This is how the rails run. And I'm going to go ahead and build the rest of this portion right here, because then I have this part without having like all the other stuff above. This is my collection system is going to go right here, and I'll explain how that works as I get the blocks placed down here. We will have a rail coming down here, and that rail is going to end up, let me place a temporary block there, put that there, pop the temporary block out. The rail is going to end up right here. Now let me go ahead and get these hoppers in really quick. Ooh, we do need a block right there. We'll get that there. And I just need a hopper, this hopper facing like actually this direction, because now I'm going to be putting the storage over there. So I can just put down a couple temporary blocks like this, face a hopper into that, knock those out. And then this hopper faces into this one. You can kind of see now where everything else is going to go. So we want our minecart to go up here, down one, down a second one to a powered rail and another powered rail. We need redstone dust to go right here. We need a comparator to go right here and a torch to go right here. Now to explain to you what's working here, let's just turn the rendering off really quick. Let's go into spectator mode. So what's going to happen here is the minecart that collects the wool and has wool inside of it, it'll come up here, go down, and then the items will start to go inside of these hoppers. This comparator, when it sees an item is inside of the hopper, it will power this block, which turns that torch off. When that torch turns off, this redstone dust turns off. And when that redstone dust turns off, these powered minecart rails turn off, which means that when the cart comes down and gets there, as long as that cart has stuff in it and is putting stuff down into these hoppers, this rail is off. And then what will happen is when the minecart is empty and this hopper empties out into the storage system, the comparator there will turn off because there's nothing in the hopper. That'll turn back on, that'll turn back on, the rail will turn back on, and the minecart will go back on its way, collect more, come back, and it will repeatedly do that. Okay, next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna lay out all of the grass. It's going to be in this little like pin shapes where our sheep are going to go. What you'll see here in the way that we're laying it out is you're going to have a total of 16 pins. It's 4 wide by 4 long, and each pin is 2 blocks wide for a specific reason I'll talk about here in a moment. So the first thing that we're doing here is we're just laying the grass out between the rails. The next thing we're going to have is the grass that the sheep are going to be standing on above the rails. So you're going to have 2 spots and then skip a spot and then 2 and then 2 and then 2 like this in a little grid. Ending up with this right here where we have the long grass rows between, and then between those grass rows up a block, we have the area in which the sheep will be standing. Now we're going to go up another layer, and then we're going to surround every single one of these 2 wide grass patches with grass. Okay, so now we have all of our pins here. You can kind of see that grid-like pattern is laid out, and we're gonna have a sheep go into each one of these. And this is kind of the annoying part. You can do this in whichever way you think is going to be easiest. I have some sheep across the way over there. So I think what I am going to do is first I'm going to get this out of the way. I'm just going to put down some temporary blocks over and up to here. I guess I need to make like stairs going up. I'm going to lead the sheep in here. That actually worked out perfectly. And then one at a time, I'm going to get them in their pins, and I'll show you how that process works once I get them over. And my plan is quite primitive. I just have a bunch of sheep here, and I'm just going to have them hopefully follow me while I carry this wheat. I have leads if I need them. I don't think I'm going to need them. And I just want them to follow me down here. Come on, guys. Come on. Yeah. Hopefully none of them fall and die. If they're sheep, I can replace them easily enough if I need to. And then what I'm going to do, I can put this down now. And then like, I can just start like trapping them in. It'll probably be easier for me if I trap them more over here first. And then I'm just going to try to like push them into the holes that I want them to go into. Go this way, my friend. And then once I have them in, like hit back. No, get back in there. Okay, just listen. Come here. Push them in. Trap them. I'll get my lead back. Thank you very much. And yep, that's going to be the process for 16 sheep. So I'm going to go through that fun process now. And when I get back, we'll have the sheep in place. And I'm going to explain to you then why I have the grass laid out in this way and why the sheep have a 2 wide space versus 1. Okay, after an extremely easy time getting these in, I didn't struggle at all, I promise. We got 16 sheep in here. They all are white right now. I will be dyeing them here in a little bit. But first, I wanted to show you and explain to you why we do it this way. So over time, sheep will eat, and they'll eat regardless of whether they need to or do not need to replace their wool. Now, when the sheep eats, the grass disappears, it changes to dirt, and then we need grass to spread again onto that block. So what we do to give grass the best chance of spreading is we put as much grass around the grass that the sheep is standing on as possible, because the more grass that is connected in the area, the quicker the grass can spread to the dirt block spot. So we have a ring surrounding the 2 blocks that the sheep is standing on, above and below, except for where we have the mine carts down here. So we have grass everywhere that it possibly can go to help the spread of our grass back to the dirt. And this is also the reason why we have 2 spots per sheep instead of 1, because when the sheep eats the grass and it changes to dirt, it's random when the sheep can decide to eat again. So what can happen is the sheep could eat and then change the grass to dirt, and then it could want to eat again right away, but then not be able to do so because the grass has not spread back over to change the dirt into grass again, if that makes sense. So we have 2 spots. That way the sheep always has grass available to eat, and we have as much grass around as possible to make the grass spread to the dirt spots as quick as possible. And the light level, I believe, on Bedrock Edition that you need to have to make sure that the grass doesn't just change to dirt and it spreads, is you want that light level to be 9 or higher. So I have plenty of torches around here to ensure that that's the case. And finally, we have glass above because that keeps the sheep in the pen area without changing the grass over to dirt. If you put a solid block there, the grass will die and it'll become a dirt block. We don't want that. So we use glass everywhere. All right. And our next step is we need to dye all of our sheep. Now, you don't have to. Whatever color wool that you want, dye 1 or multiple sheep however you want to. I want 1 of every color wool to go in my storage there. That way, anytime I need any wool, I have that color available down below. Also, it's worth me noting, you don't have to make your sheep thing this big. We've done 16 because there's 16 colors. So now I need to dye all these guys. So I don't need to dye the white one, but I do have the white dye. To dye the sheep, we'll just open up the top here like this. We click the sheep with the dye, and we'll just close them back in. And we're going to do this for every single one. I've gone through a very comprehensive review process for what color I'm going to dye what sheep and what order it all goes into. And stream probably agrees with me 0%. I'm sure you guys will yell at me too, but in any event, we're going to go ahead and we're going to dye all of our sheep all these colors. Okay, now that we have all the sheep in here, we're going to do what's kind of the difficult part right now. And I don't know if this was the best order in which to do things, but it just made the most sense to me at the time. And it would have been, I guess, slightly annoying either way. Which is the fact that we now need to put in our dispensers, and our dispensers do need to face downwards, which is going to provide us with a little bit of a problem, a little bit of a annoyance, being in the fact that I need to be able to place them. You have to place them against the block. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a block in each one of these spots right here. So I can then drop in here with the sheep. I can just easily look up and click. The dispenser is face down, and I should be able to use the scaffolding to just kind of easily get out. And I'm going to lose the scaffolding down there, but it's fine. It's just scaffolding. It's not like it's that expensive anyways. So I should just be able to do this for all the spots and get the dispensers in and not be that big of a deal. And then we'll start hooking up all of the redstone, and I'll show you guys how the shearing works and how we fill all of our dispensers with shears. All right, now with that done, you can see what our next step is going to be. Right now, we have all of our dispensers in place and ready to go. And we now need to put in the system that is going to be delivering our shears to all of these. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to hop up top, start down here. I think will be good. And then we need hoppers facing down into all of our dispensers. We're going to use glass everywhere that we can to keep light being able to easily come through and get onto our grass. And then this is going to be where one side of our minecart comes over to and can bounce off of. So that does need to be a solid block. And then we're just going to make the place where the track is going to go first, putting down glass everywhere except for where hoppers needs to go. So I guess I'll just place my hoppers down first, place the glass down in between. Probably gonna be the easiest way to do this. And we'll just repeat this all the way down. And then that's going to lead over to this part. We'll build this section in a moment, but I will go ahead and put down the blocks for where the mine cart's going to end up going and bouncing off of. So that's there and in place, and you guys can see all of the tracks. All right, now let's just go ahead and get all of our rails down. We'll start out with power for this rail right here that will stay on all the time. We'll go powered rail, and then rails all the way through. With one powered rail on each section should be more than enough to keep our minecart going. And now you see with all that down, now we just need to power these rails. We wouldn't want to power the block below the rail, which is why I'm not doing that. Instead, I'm just going to put a redstone block over top of each of these. You could also just put a regular block down and put a lever on it to power it. It'll do the same thing as what we're doing here. But that gets our entire track all good to go. And now we just need to worry about the system over here that is going to craft the shears for us and send them out. Okay, so we have ourselves like a little floor to work on here. And what we're going to do is place down all of our redstone. I'll kind of try to explain to you everything that we're going to have here, we're going to need. And I'm going to try to do it in an order that makes sense. So actually first, we're going to grab our crafter, and we're going to grab our hoppers, and we're going to have a hopper facing straight down into that rail right there, because our minecart that comes through is going to stop here, pick up some shears, and then go back on its way. Now, this crafter is going to craft the shears for us. So we're going to face a crafter that way. And we're going to need some redstone to control this crafter, because we want to make it so whenever it has iron in it and whenever shears need to be created, it makes the shears. And when we don't need shears anymore, it stops. So first of all, we're going to set this to our shear recipe, which if you put iron here and iron here, you get shears. Okay. Now, we do want this crafter to go off when iron gets in here. So to do that, we do need to set a crafter right here. And we're going to just click all the slots. We're going to have a comparator read our crafter here. And we're going to have that comparator send a signal to this comparator so they can compare with each other. Let me get the other redstone bits down here. Put a solid block on top of here and redstone dust right there. So here's what's happening. Whenever this crafter has a piece of iron in each slot, the redstone signal will be allowed to travel through. Otherwise, it's not allowed to travel through. So what we're doing is we're subtracting signal out of here. So like if I go in and I put in a piece of redstone dust here and here, the signal becomes strong enough to let this thing operate as a clock. When there's not two things in here, it does not. So basically, whenever there's iron in each one of these slots, the system runs. Whenever there's not, say the system runs out of iron, it stops running. It's that simple. The redstone signal makes a clock here. The signal travels up here and goes into here. Yes, it does hit this hopper. No, it's not causing any kind of issues. It's fine. Now, the next portion here is to stop this whole system from working whenever this hopper is full. So what we're going to do is we're going to read from that hopper so we know what's inside of it. I'm actually going to take a redstone block and put it right here, and a piece of redstone dust right here. And what we're doing is we're comparing this redstone signal strength, which is the maximum strength, to the redstone signal strength coming through this comparator being read from the hopper here. Basically, what's going to happen is whenever this hopper is full right here, it has a maximum redstone strength signal that gets read out of it. The redstone strength signal then matches this, which is also a maximum signal. And since they match, it will allow this comparator to turn on and send a redstone signal out. That redstone signal hits this clock right here and keeps it turned on all the time. Therefore, the clock can't tick anymore and the whole system shuts off. When it has that max signal, so in our case, when it's full of shears, the whole thing gets cut off because we don't need to craft any more shears if this is full of shears. We don't want more shears than what can go in here. That wouldn't make any sense. We would just have shears like start spitting out and not and just being wasted. So we don't want that to happen. So our cart will come in. It'll take the items out of here, and then it will allow the system to continue to make shears. And also it's going to make shears by having a little input right here. This is what's going to put iron into the system. And I'm going to get a double chest. And what we'll end up doing is we'll load it with like a double chest full of iron. Also, this repeater right here, go ahead and put that repeater on 2 ticks. It'll keep this thing from crafting nuggets every once in a while, because if you don't do that, it will pop out nuggets every so often. So put that repeater right there on 2 ticks just by clicking it. We'll go ahead and we'll put our double chest right here, so that way all of our iron can get pulled out into the system, and we'll input that in just a little bit so you can see how that's going to work. And that completes this whole system. And the only other thing we need to do now is the system that's going to use the shears inside of our dispensers. Actually, to do that, let's go ahead and get some solid blocks down now. And we actually have to have solid blocks specifically right in front of our dispensers, because that's what's going to allow them to be powered. All right, and that ends up with something like this. Basically, we're going to have redstone dust. I guess I can place it down right now. No reason not to. We're going to have redstone dust that comes across here, like so. And that redstone dust will power this solid block right here, which will then power the dispensers on this side and this side. And then same thing over here. Now I need to reach up here because I need to put the power source down for these two rails here and here, here and here. And there we go. Those rails are now on. And now I need an etho hopper clock that is going to go right here. All right, we have the etho hopper clock in here. It doesn't really matter how many items you put in. We're gonna put 8 in. And what it's going to end up ultimately doing is when we have shears in here, every several seconds, those shears are going to trigger to try to shear the sheep. And the nice thing about shears is if they don't actually shear something, that doesn't use their durability. So the fact that we have them all connected to the same timer does not generate any waste. I could make the clock slower if I wanted to. I think this is fine. And basically, once we get some iron in the system, a hopper minecart here, a hopper minecart down there, the whole system will be working. But before I do that, I'm going to build a storage system down here, a bunch of item sorters. We've done these a number of times already, so I'm not going to show this off here in video. So I'm going to go ahead and get the storage sorter system built here on stream, off camera video, and I'll be back. All right, I got my storage system all in and the farm is running. I will show you guys a couple of last steps that you're going to need to do. But first, I'm in the mood to get this build up. So I got everything positioned properly. We have HoloPrint here to help us build. I'm not going to do this in video. You guys will get to see the finished product when it's all up and officially done. And we're gonna end up with an awesome, amazing build. This was so easy to build with the HoloPrint. Oh, I loved it. It was a great process. In any event, let's go down here. I think I have some extra ladders down here, or otherwise I'm gonna be stuck. And let's show you guys exactly the last steps that I needed to take to get this thing functional. Number one was we added the hopper minecart to the top and the hopper minecart to the bottom. The hopper minecart down bottom is just simply going underneath the sheep and collecting the wool that gets sheared off. We loaded our crafter here with iron, which is now producing us flint and steel. I did have to make one super duper minor change here. I just had to click this repeater one more time. It actually needed to be on 3 ticks, not 2. And the hopper minecart started doing this running around and eventually filled all of the dispensers with shears, and all of the sheep are now being sheared. I added in a sorter system down here with a trash can. I think I'll decorate this area down here. I don't know how I'm going to decorate it yet, but we are going to decorate that. I might do that on stream today. We'll see. But we added a sorter system in here and the trash can at the end. And we just have every color. We have a sorter for every single color. And then once every single color is all the way filled up, or every once in a while when a color slips through the filter, it just gets tossed in a trash can here, and that's it. And as you can see, it's been running a little bit and we're starting to collect some wool. That's gonna be it for today's episode. I appreciate you guys watching. I hope you liked it. If you did, please click the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.